last question for our lovely panelists is, what coping tools do you use or have you used to strengthen your self-confidence and your self-esteem? Barbara, would you like to go first?
So you guys already mentioned a bunch of things that are really important for developing a sense of self-esteem and self-confidence. And also there's this idea of self-efficacy, that you can do things that make an impact in your own world, as well as maybe the larger world, society in general. There's a concept called building mastery. And this is about, like the dancing, the soccer, and the clubs, and the Cats to Cats program, and all of the skills that come about from doing things that you work on to build something of meaning or value, or to develop skills in some arena. That building mastery process contributes hugely to your self-worth and your self-esteem, and it gets you away from spending a lot of time on your phone and looking at social media and kind of normalizing that view of life as being real. Like, if I spent a lot of time watching movie stars and magazines, we'd all know that what I was looking at was contrived, right? But we don't think about that with social media. It's the same thing. It's contrived. So we have to get away from the social media and focus on the actual doing of everyday things with everyday people. Because the more we spend time with something, the more that becomes what we think is normal.
Yeah, it really, a lot of problems go back to our tolerance level, right? And the saturation of the media. Like, there's so many things that people can control now online that you just don't really think about it. So you have to take a step back sometimes and think about what you're looking at. Noora, unless you have a point, I would love to say something, but go for it if you do.
I think I would just say that when looking at other people, don't focus too much on, like, I think maybe you're probably going to say this, but like the comparisons, right? I feel like social media and all these different platforms and seeing people like on Zoom and these different things, I think it's, once again, it's not really reality. It's kind of just a way that people can change themselves to seem like they're okay, or to seem that they're like not struggling. Like, I think Barbara could agree with me on this, that sometimes like depression is, or have struggling with something is so internalized that externally you look like a normal person. Like, you look like you're just walking around, laughing, smiling, like you seem like, it seems like nothing's wrong, right? But a lot of the struggle is inside. It's what you're going through, right? Like depletion of confidence, depletion of self-esteem, you know, like anorexia, eating disorders, depression, anxiety, like all these different things are can go unnoticed for such a long time, which is so detrimental. And I'm gonna say this again, like, once again, finding the things that you absolutely enjoy doing, and the things that make you feel safe and happy is what's actually going to really support you during these difficult times. But also, like, noticing that if you need help, like, go get it. Because I feel like a lot of the time students are like, oh yeah, like, I don't need help, like, whatever, like, I don't need help from other people. And I think that that's also detrimental, because once again, it's just like depleting your confidence and depleting who you truly are, and asking for certain things and seeing certain things and doing certain things and breaking out of like what everyone is telling you to do is what's really hard. But at the same time, it's like going to make you happy. So I say just do it. Do it. I mean, I know it's Nike slogan or Logan slogan or whatever. It's just do it. I couldn't agree more. Just go after it, no matter how hard it is. If you want to do something, I say do it.
Nike has a great slogan for a reason, because it's a good one. I think one thing that I can speak to personally as an athlete, because I run track, so that makes me an athlete, is that I spent a long time, and probably would have done this better last season, if we had a season, but we didn't. Not like I'm bitter or anything, it's okay. Is that I spent a long time comparing my achievements and my goals to other people's. So, I would go to a meet and I'd be like, yeah, I jumped 4.8. And then, when I was a sophomore, there was a freshman who was jumping like 5.2. And I was like, oh, but they jumped 5.2. And then I realized that, there's people that are better than me at things that I do, and that's okay. And B, instead of comparing yourself to other people, which Noora talked about, you should compare yourself to yourself, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a self competition where instead of trying to better yourself to match up with other people, you should better yourself in order to match up with your own self concept. So I went to a meet and I was like, oh, I only jumped 4.6 this time and I jumped 4.8 last time. And I'm probably just saying numbers. If you don't do high jump, you don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry. But I was like, okay, what did I do last time that I didn't do this time? And, that's why I didn't gain those 2 extra inches. And so I think that if you start a competition with yourself, healthily, not going crazy about it, obviously, rather than comparing yourself to other people, then you'll notice that your goals become attainable. They come on a shorter timetable and they come with a lot less sadness and a lot more accomplishment. So that's what I would say.
So incrementalism is huge. Those baby steps of, if you have to compare with yourself and look at your own improvement and pick apart what is it that you're doing that you did before versus what you did now, and how can you improve, your technique or your form or whatever it is. That's hugely important in making progress that is rewarding. Yeah, because it's not just comparing to other people, right? And that's hard. That's a really challenging process for us to go through. And so one of the things that helps us is to, one, validate ourselves, how we feel about stuff. This, we can say to ourselves, oh, I didn't do as well this time. It's terrible. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm angry. I feel ashamed, whatever. All those emotions that come in that moment, we can validate them. We don't have to push them down and say we shouldn't be feeling this. We can say, look, I'm human. It sucked. I didn't like it. Yeah, everybody would agree. And then pick ourselves up and try and work on those things that Mabel was talking about. The second thing in that process that helps, besides acknowledging and validating yourself and your own efforts, maybe this was, not the best day, or maybe you did try really hard today and it just wasn't enough. Doesn't matter. Try again tomorrow. The second thing is about distracting ourselves from the emotional distress that we're feeling, so we don't continue to feel it. There's all kinds of ways of distracting ourselves. That's a hugely important thing, to not be carrying around the thoughts in our head all the time. And we just have to learn to balance that.
Yeah, and I seriously couldn't agree more. And I was just, going back to talking about like no longer comparing yourself to others. When looking at like social media, like just an easily accessible step that I've taken before is just honestly like taking a break from social media like altogether. And whether that's like a day, a week, or like a few months, like it really doesn't matter. But I've just noticed that whenever I do it, I just gain so much more space and time to devote to myself. And like, I'm no longer just constantly comparing myself to, again, like a square image, like over an iPhone screen. And so that's just been really helpful too, because I can, appreciate me for me and just, you know, give all my attention to myself rather than like some random person that I might not even know.
Yeah, that was a great final comment. I'm gonna have to cut us off here because I don't want to take up too much of anyone's time. But my final thing that I would ask everyone to remember is that today is tomorrow's yesterday. If things don't go very well today, tomorrow it'll be gone. And you can just start over and figure it out, and it'll be fine.